No shock. I am a fan of higher learning with Van Lathan and Rachel Lindsay. Y'all have seen me play a few different clips from their show. Whatever the ringer is paying them, I gotta be honest, it's probably not enough. Their show is great. It's awesome. Van doesn't back down from any of his statements. He will bring on people that he vehemently disagrees with and tries to have a discussion. They are brutally honest, and I appreciate them for it. And I think Van and Rachel had one of the best takes about Donald Trump. And I'm going to show that to you, uninterrupted, and then we'll discuss. Here that is.
We've never seen anyone treated with the singular amount of white privilege that Donald Trump is being treated with. This is a masterclass in white privilege. Trump can't say enough to be racist.
Correct.
He can't commit enough crimes to be a criminal. He can't fail enough to be a failure. And he can't say enough stupid things to be stupid. He is so shielded and insulated by the idea and the concept of whiteness that he is untouchable.
Yeah.
The thought conjured around him matters more than any reality. Any reality. He is a Christian that doesn't know the Bible, that porn stars, that is grabs women by the is the least Christ-like, but the sheer promise of the whiteness that exists inside of Donald Trump is enough for everyone, white and black people, a lot of them who worship whiteness and aspire to the level of whiteness that Trump has. It's enough for them to say, hey, he's still our guy, no matter what.
It's the whiteness he guarantees to protect. That's what he represents, right? It's their being that he guarantees to protect. And that's true. That's something that they won't say, but that they're voting for.
Very, and I mean very well done. But let's expand upon this, shall we? Politico's Aaron Aubrey Kaplan would write, Trump was and continues to be the chief executive, not of a nation or of the Republican Party or even of a cult, but of a culture, namely a culture of white supremacy. Kaplan continues, it is about racialized power and assumed authority of white people, chiefly, of course, men, to set and enforce the social and moral order as they see fit, a la Harrison Butker, often in the service of values that on their face sound noble, like tradition or family. In this culture, the presidency, electoral politics, the Constitution, rule of law, democratic ideals, liberalism, decency, all are incidental. They can never matter as much as white people's ultimate right to power. This is spot on. She would add, the culture of white supremacy, has gone fully, almost gleefully mainstream. Republican policy agendas have been replaced with relentless attacks at the time. Of course, we never hear about this anymore. Critical race theory and the whole notion of social justice. Voter suppression is orchestrated out in the open. January the 6th, an attempt by a largely white minority to subvert democracy has been met with less than universal condemnation from GOP leadership because they're cowards and they were in on it. That's why. Trump has gone on the record saying, I think there is a definite anti-white feeling in this country. I don't think it would be a very tough thing to address, frankly, but I think the laws are very unfair right now. What laws exactly? Per Reuters, here was his answer. When asked about it, he answered with a non-answer. He did not specify examples of anti-white bias nor policy prescriptions in the interview. Thus, Tricia Rose, director of the Center for the Study of Race and Ethnicity in America at Brown, would tell the outlet, there's always, quote, there's always been an ability to foment this kind of anxiety and frustration among many whites whenever an effort to level the playing field for non-whites has been successful in any way. Thus, we fast forward to the hate rally that took place Some online are equating it to a Nazi rally that took place at the same venue in 1939, that venue being Madison Square Garden. I did a TikTok on this. I believe that, yes, you should condemn every single part of that rally. But you know who I feel is getting a pass that shouldn't is the owner of Madison Square Garden, a trust fund baby himself, James Dolan. He owns Madison Square Garden. He owns the New York Knicks. He owns the New York Rangers. He owns Radio City Music Hall. I'll say my thoughts for him here at the end. So we fast forward to that rally. Trump's target is the largely anecdotal fear of migrant crime and crime rates that continue to decline. But like George Wallace's rhetoric from nearly 50 years ago, it's also fear of the other, fear of black men. In 1968, the fear of a black woman in 2024, wrote Michael A. Cohen, who makes the case on how Trump's rally echoed George Wallace's. Cohen continues, perhaps above all, Wallace's appeal was driven by fear or change, fear that the progress of the present would replace the nostalgia of the past. One analyst called Wallace's message an ideology of preservatism, or in modern terms, MAGA. Making America Great Again. In 1968, Wallace warned that anarchy prevails today in the streets of the large cities of our country, making it unsafe for you to even go to a political rally. Oh, doesn't that sound familiar from what we heard a few days ago? Cohen concludes, in short, Wallace succeeded in influencing the political debate, but enjoyed none of his own political success. Nearly 5 decades later, his political toxicity and his divisive rhetoric haven't been dispatched to the ash can of history as it should. Instead, it has been adopted and weaponized by the modern Republican Party. Let me say this. Only one man in the race has been accused of housing discrimination against black people. Only one man's father was arrested at a Klan rally. When seeing the atrocities committed by police where black Americans are killed at a nearly 3-to-1 rate, he would say to a journalist, I believe with CBS Evening News, what about white people? What about white people? Was his retort. Only one candidate, per the reporting, had Hitler's speeches by his bedside. Only one candidate met with a proud white nationalist named Nick Fuentes. And then, of course, when he was questioned by, I don't know Nick Fuentes. I don't know who that is. I'm not familiar with him. Yeah, you are. You're courting his vote. You're courting the base he has. It took him forever to denounce the endorsement of David Duke, the former Grand Wizard of the Triple K. He is friendly with white nationalist groups. Only one candidate has an avowed white nationalist in their cabinet to write speeches. That's Stephen Miller. And he's in the Trump team. He's writing the immigration policy. That's him. Only one group of supporters waved Nazi flags in Florida, and also Confederate flags in the Capitol. And yet he calls them fine people. Only one person in the race spouts great replacement theory over and over again. So when I see Van and Rachel go over this, it is not only well put, but it is brutally honest that more people need to be discussing. If you can and are willing, please become a paid member here at TYT Sports. And or go to tyt.com/join. In addition, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate it. Have a great day.